What is up, Will family? This is Nytmare bringing you Hang Time, where we talk NBA Top Shot, sports collectibles, the market, fantasy basketball, and all things hoops and hype. My partner in crime, Rune, is out of pocket today. He's actually trying to buy a vehicle of some sort. I think he's really taking this Crypto Motors Alpha game release to heart and thinks he's in the driver's seat. He's Dale Earnhardt over there. But the show must go on. So what do we got going on right now? The Olympics, which I can't even wrap my head around happening before the Super Bowl. It's super weird, let alone all of the stuff of where it's happening and what the implications are there. But the Olympics are happening. I'm sure there'll be more stuff that's newsworthy to me, but just right now, it's not really in scope because there's so much other stuff going on between what's going on with Top Shot. Obviously, we're heading into the Super Bowl with the NFL, and we just had the Pro Bowl, which was, summarily kind of encapsulated here by Dion. Like what I've been thinking for a long time is it's just corny. Like I don't even know why it's the least entertaining of all of the all-star breaks and all of the collectives that happen. I mean, it's just not worth a watch, even for the skills challenge for me. And I felt that way for a long time. You know, the Patriots had an up-and-coming running back who I think got injured playing touch football in the sand in Hawaii, right? Like it was just not worth the effort, and what it entailed. But hopefully, they come to some way to make it a little bit more exciting for everyone going forward. I know it was exciting for Mac Jones here, getting his faux touchdown after the whistle was blown, but had to show off his wheels a little bit and then come through with a dance at the end. And that seems to be getting a little bit of props on Twitter and on socials as well. But it took him a while to get there, even just for this highlight. So, shout out to Mac Jones, even as an alternate, living it up. But I am looking forward to the Super Bowl. Uh, it's kind of a interesting Super Bowl to me for a couple of reasons, and obviously from a sports perspective, seeing Burrow in there doing his thing, and of course, Stafford have his opportunity now after languishing in Detroit. But really, being that it's the Hollywood Super Bowl, so to speak, given where it is, tons of NFT action, right? Tons of collectibles and things of that nature. People from our own community won, the opportunity to go out there and check out a party with Shaq and whatnot. So a lot of cool stuff happening. Even the Super Bowl itself, you have an opportunity if you're going to get a commemorative ticket in partnership with Ticketmaster. So the NFL itself is getting in on the game, and there's a marketplace already for the types of tickets that they're talking about here, right? I didn't even know these existed, but if you go on Ticketmaster, you can find your way here where you can get team commemorative tickets for the season, for different playoff games and things of that nature. But there's also a lot of corn coming with the Super Bowl, right? So with the NFT rush and push that's happening during the Super Bowl media push, we have things like this where the Foo Fighters will be performing a post Super Bowl concert in the metaverse, so it says, but it's really a partnership with Facebook and or Meta, so to speak, and being able to do it on that platform and on Instagram afterwards. And then this is just, I don't even know what to say about this, right? Like a partnership for wings. You scan the bones of the wings you eat during the game for an opportunity to be on a leaderboard and win an edible NFT. Like this is just, I can't even take the time to wrap my head around what exactly they're doing here. So, some of the backlash I'm sure will continue after the Super Bowl for what seemed to be inauthentic ways that some brands were trying to leverage it. But there are brands doing it right. You guys may have seen that Rolling Stone is putting together a sick pregame show and really tapped in with some artists that are doing dope stuff in the space. So, part of their celebration, they've partnered with Deadfellas and a number of different properties and artists, including Boss Beauties and our own Kid A, who is super dope, right? And Mark the Habibi. But interestingly, here I wanted to show you, if I can stop scrolling, is Giant Swan, who, as you know, we think is super dope here. And now it all makes sense that they're hosting this pregame party. And we saw on his Twitter that he had just landed in LA. So I wasn't privy to what he in particular was doing there, but now we know Giant Swan is going to be at the Super Bowl pre-party with Rolling Stone. So awesome look for him. If you didn't check it out, he had a feature in Rolling Stone itself. Super dope. And on the NBA front, some sick highlights over the past week. Obviously, we are heading into the All-Star break soon, but some of the games have been super dope. I love this Luca being Luca highlight that they had put on Sports Center here. Mean mugging afterwards after, showing some of his finesse game, which is always super dope. And this Jalen Green highlight and the reactions afterwards was really ill as well. Shout out to Jalen Green. I want to collect more of your stuff. You have so many moments on Top Shot. It's been hard for me to really wrap around how to really drive value with that. But he has so many early people really said, hey, this is someone that's gonna do big things. So good to see him really getting some props over the past week. But really, the props that everyone is talking about, if you were checking highlights, and the bag that everyone was super impressed with was Caitlin Clark, just absolutely lighting it up, and people really being put onto her and her range and what she's been doing in the NCAA game. That was her second pull up from half court during that game. So super dope stuff. But on to the market. So on Evaluate Market, you will see that both there and on Moment Ranks, the total market cap for NBA Top Shot continued growth over the past week. So maintained that level above 800K. That was something that we were looking at. It actually had some significant growth that had fallen off a bit now that some of the snapshots for particular packs had been done. But that being said, it's great to see the market cap growth continue, and the gamification catalyst that they are putting in place is still working. Right. So, people are enjoying the flash challenges and the way that they're using scoring leaders and things of that nature to drive value to various moments and it not be kind of, you know, backed into only using things of high value and people being ostracized and not really allowed to participate in the gamification. So that's been cool to see. And then, if you look at these indexes and, the market activity, pretty much in line with what we've come to expect. No revelations here as far as what some of the different pack drops did for activity, but continued to sustain that growth that we saw after the bounce back, after, the macro market had steadied. And we're seeing some growth right now with some positive news. So hopefully that continues the momentum. Would love to see this get back over, 900, right? That's my short term goal here. And I think it's very achievable. That being said, if we look at the individual base sets, strong growth, strong growth continued. This is not an anomaly from a bounce back. This is continuing to see, base cards have value because of some of the gamification that they're doing and people wanting to get back in. There's a lot of discussion around the turn of the year, people saying, hey, I'm getting out of Top Shot. Even some people frustrated with what we'll talk about in a little bit here, what happened with the KD elites. But that being said, the data says that people are putting their money back in and reinvesting into these, base moments. So good to see that they've come up with gamification that's driving value for people and giving opportunities because, there was discussion in the past that people felt like if you had missed the boat, you really didn't have an opportunity here. So cool to see. Um, when I look at individual sets, nothing crazy to me that really jumped out, but obviously Rondo with his run up and assist and some different things have been calling some attention to it. But again, good to see that the activity that they're using to really drive, marketplace movement and transaction volume, which set a record, is really resonating with people. So what does that mean for the whale vault? Well, the whale vault is relatively flat to where we looked at it last week, right? There's not a lot of liquidity in these moments that we have, so not often big movements in it. If we look at evaluate market, it's actually up slightly. It's up about 1.5% versus where we were year ago, and not year ago, week ago. But interesting to see that the valuation that we've long seen in the audit from non-fungibles is getting closer and closer to what this metric is reflecting. So I don't know what that means relative to the valuation, if they were closer to it all along, or this is going to be an anomaly here, and eventually when the market course corrects a little bit and people are delving back into these really high tier legendary moments, we'll see that vault valuation really skyrocket again to the 50 to the $75 million mark, which is the peak that we had seen prior. I think. Let's see, right? Here's 50. So that being said, my typical non-scientific method of looking at this Jokic that I wish I bought at 40 something dollars, still doing good, 99 bucks. So to me, that tells me that things are relatively okay in the market, right? My concern, I'd be less concerned right now than at other times. So let's talk about what happened over the past week. I see a couple of corrections for me in the stream text. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. This was really the big news over the past week, right? So if you didn't catch it, they introduced a new mechanic with their pack drops with the KD integration. He was dropping these special packs where there was randomization to the value tiers of the moment. So you could get a legendary, you could get a rare in the same pack where you would get commons. And so this drove a lot of excitement. I know I was excited about it. So was Rune. So were a lot of people in the community. Um, Man, they released the first set of elites on Friday, or was it Thursday, right? So they released the first set of elites, and there's an issue with the randomization. Instead of it really being randomized as far as where the packs were delved, it worked out a little bit differently. So if you were at the tail end of the queue, here it kind of highlights exactly how it happened. But if you were at the tail end of the queue, people were just picking up hollows just as a byproduct of where they were when they got their pack. And obviously, that was a big miss. Props to all the people that were lucky enough to get in at the end. I was not. Um, that being said, I didn't have the collector score to really hop in here because you need significant collector score to participate in this. But that being said, they came back to the table. Eventually, had to acknowledge the fault in it because at first there was some community pushback. From some of the moderation team and people in the Discord saying, "Hey guys, you know, things like this can happen. There could randomly be people that get really lucky." Eventually, they found what the issue was. So, issuing a refund for everyone that participated and had issue, and then they postpone the standard KD pack drop to this week, and that just actually dropped today. So a lot of people were in queue. 70,000 people were in queue, able to snag packs and be part of it. That also has this randomization. So, people had an opportunity to pull rares out of this. Um, and, hopefully they got everything squared away because this is something that's really driving a lot of excitement. I know me personally, you guys have heard me talk about possibly pulling out and consolidating my funding into just some moments that I wanted to hold long term for value. This has made me really reconsider that and think about, what do I need to do to get the team collector score bonus so I can be in the tier to be able to participate in different ways. So obviously the gamification works. It's driving a lot of excitement. And I think that they're going to, continue to tweak it and experiment with it in some different ways over the course of the month. And so that's what they really said. They're going to be taking the month of February to experiment with it. Who knows? Maybe we'll get something for the All Star break that will incorporate some of it as well. But that would be very cool. So shout out to all the people that, were in the queue today, able to score packs. Zorro will drop some airdrops in the stream text. I will drop a couple of Joe Boos for you for luck in a little bit here. Um, in addition to that, NFL all day saying that this is going to be a big week ahead. What that means, I don't know. Possibly a drop leading up to the Super Bowl. That would be very cool. They did show during the drop last week where people were able to participate in the beta. Our own community member Mongoose hopped in, pulled his first pack, and scored this Brady. So shout out to Mongoose. Envious of your pull. I did not get something as awesome as that with mine. I think I got a couple of comments that really weren't worth highlighting here, but shout out to everyone participating in the NFL all day beta. I know that we've been chomping at the bit, so it's cool to be able to participate. I'm eager to see what they do for the Super Bowl. But they did launch these over the past week, which were interesting. So these are conference championship, commemorative NFTs, really just highlighting, that team had won and what the score was. What I find interesting about this is it's not the moment deliverable, right? This is a different type of NFT for them. So it makes me have to wrap my head around the different things they could expand out to and do with this license. You don't see this with NBA Top Shot really. And we're seeing this more and more, right? Where they're partnering with specific teams with different parts of the NFL to do stuff. And this was just announced today, another kind of form of this special type of moment. In this case, commemorating the 2011 Giants Super Bowl winning season. I think they're just doing this stuff to toy with me, quite honestly, because that's a painful loss as well. Not as bad as the prior Giants loss, but these are pretty cool. So commemorates the Super Bowl with specific plays. Almost looks like a Madden play or an NFL blitz or something. If you're into more arcadey games like myself. But we'll continue to see what they do with this. There's a lot of experiment room here, and I'm intrigued to see what they come up with. I'm not sure, what would drive value on this in the secondary for collectibles and things of that nature. It's interesting. You don't need to be part of the NFL All Day beta to participate in this drops, but this is part of NFL All Day partnering with them. So will these incorporate back into the platform? Will there be a way to take some of these more collectible non-moment type things and have them augment your collection for challenges, for who knows what kind of gamification they have. Interesting to see exactly what's going to happen there. And then UFC Strike, wanted to touch on this, once again, um, with moment visibility being an issue and a big point of contention for people and some of their experiences with the first drop, they've once again pushed back the release of the second drop for Series Zero. So this will be the last drop of Series Zero. They moved it to February 15th. So February 15th will be both the release of the last release of Series Zero as well as the marketplace opening up. So that's exciting, right? See what will happen here. I'm still pretty convinced that it'll be a unique market relative to the league markets because it's so based on the individual's performance and you don't have really the team itself or the league so much branding being a part of it. I think there'll be a huge gap between the people that are stars. What I'm interested to see is on the day of fights if there's speculative movement, right? Because if someone knocks out a champ and they're a huge underdog, it could be a moonshot play, things like that. So interesting to see how this marketplace plays out and the key differences that it would have versus, a team focused sport. And this I found interesting as well. I mean, maybe you guys were already privy to this. I wasn't really paying attention, but I got an email today that crypto.com was launching packs for UFC 271. So, UFC works with crypto.com. Obviously, there's some nuance to what exactly each platform can do, right? But there's some, prizes, associated with the individual packs and things that people can win as part of giveaways. But they have an existing marketplace here, right? So, this is our obviously been done already. These already exist. It looks like posters as opposed to live moments, but I'm always interested to see how these types of things can uh, exist, coexist, so to speak. So just like, So Rare and La Liga when that launches and what exactly is going to happen with these NFTs for sports that are going to exist on two different platforms. Obviously nuanced, but what will that have to do with the market liquidity, right? Will people that are super fans delve into both? Will they have one that's their preferential platform? Much to be seen on that. And then lastly, I wanted to make mention to everyone, we are working on the Super Bowl squares for the whale community. So be on the lookout for that in our sports NFT room. We're going to be offering squares for everybody to participate, win some whale, bust some chops. In addition to that, we will have our typical props contest. I'm going to have two winners this time. We're going to have some unique props in there, obviously, maybe something NFT related. Who knows? It's probably good odds that'll be on the props given how much speculation there is that we may see something during the halftime show, which is looking like a dope halftime show, by the way. I'm really looking forward to that. So we will see. But especially with Snoop's involvement, I would not be surprised to see something there. So we'll see the props. I could be totally wrong. Don't pick that on the props because I mentioned it. Please. I'm not the person to be following in the props, that's for sure. And then on the collectibles front, there's always a lot of stuff that we're dabbling in. But I did want to make mention of something I just saw earlier today. The NFT ethics Twitter handle had an interesting thread talking about wallets and the connections between different projects and what they mean. And I'd encourage everyone to just take a look at it. Obviously, do your own research, think about whether or not you agree with some of the um, analysis and what they kind of get to, but essentially at the end talking about some projects that have a history of disappearing or rugging or abandoning communities have been associated with each other. So it may be something you want to stay privy to and keep your mind on when it comes to something new, because there's always a lot of talk in some of these rooms about, hey, this is minting, this is the floor, I may want to hop in here for this or that. We try to be diligent in our vetting of things that we advocate for on here, but I know there's a lot of people that get excited and hop into a lot of things from a lot of different communities. So take a look at this. Be aware of the teams, understanding the team and what they've driven for value before, even as individuals, is important. That's why Pi Land is getting a lot of play and a lot of props, even from, Rude Moose herself here. So you guys, stay alert, be aware out there, and hopefully an exciting week to come. Hope to see all you guys pull some rares out of your KD packs from today, and I will be sure to drop some Joe Boo in there for the mojo. Everyone have a great week.